going to start on the driver's side of the vehicle, and in order to access the fog light bulbs, what we're going to do is come in through the wheel well here, and to give us more clearance, we're going to go inside the vehicle, turn it on, and then turn the wheels all the way towards the right. This will open up some room. Now what we need to do is remove the two fasteners that secure the fender liner to the front bumper. That way we can flex the liner and reach our hands in there. Now your particular vehicle might have slightly different fasteners than this one. This one might have had some of the fasteners replaced at some point in its life, and they might not be the same as the original ones from the factory. But this particular vehicle has what looks like a quarter turn fastener here, and then there's a plastic Phillips fastener up here. Now for this quarter turn fastener, what you need to do is just take your flathead screwdriver, and then you just need to turn it 90 degrees like that. And if it doesn't pop out, all you need to do is just kind of pull on it a little bit, and you see how it's raised the head above the surface just a little bit. You can take a flathead screwdriver in there and then just try to pull it out. Oh, it's being a little stubborn here. So stick a screwdriver in there and then gently pry it out, and then see if you can pull it out with your fingers. Now this one's being stiff, so this is a good time to use a panel pop. I don't have one on me right now, so I'm just going to kind of take a pliers and then gently pull the fastener out. Still doesn't want to come, so you can pull the fastener out like that. Now you can see it's got this kind of spade design here, and the way that you put this back in is just to line it up. It only goes in one way, so you can't put it in this way. You just have to line up these prongs here with a slot in this hole, and then it slides back in. And then here, depending on what type of fastener you got here, just use the appropriate tool, but I got a Phillips here, so I'm going to take that one out. So here's another reason why I hate plastic clips with a passion, because a lot of times they just don't ever work. So typically what you would do is you would turn this, and the center piece would back out just like a screw, and then you could take the base out. But for whatever reason, this one doesn't want to come out, so we have to use an alternative strategy. So in order to get this fastener out, what I've done is I've just taken a plastic tool that I have, and I've wedged it in between this tab on the bumper and the fender liner. And what that does is it creates tension in this fastener. And then what I can come in and do is take my little Phillips bit here, and it's not tight, so I don't need like a full screwdriver to loosen this. But you can see it's starting to work its way out now, because there's that tension that's built inside the fastener. When there was no tension on it, I couldn't get this out. So now I can just back this fastener out. And again, yours might not look exactly like this. Hopefully yours is easier. But and then usually once you get it out a little ways, well, not quite yet. So once you get it to about here, you can just use your fingers, and it comes out just like that. Now at this point, what we want to do is take the fender liner outside of the lip here. Now I have a little plastic pry tool that looks like this. You can use a flathead screwdriver if you want, or maybe a butter knife or something. And then just what you want to do is pull the fender liner out like this. And bring it up past the first and second fastener. And these things are flexible enough where you can bend this back. If it's cold outside, if it's really cold, if you're trying to do this in the middle of winter or something, I wouldn't necessarily recommend this approach because the plastic really gets hard when it's cold. But here you can see the little blue symbol down there, that's the fog light housing. So now we can reach our hands in there and access the bulb. So now to remove the fog light bulb, it's just like the headlight bulbs if you watched our HID installation video. It's very simple. So there's a tab on the bottom. Let's focus here. There's a tab on the bottom of the bulb that you push in towards the front of the vehicle and push down on the connector. When I say down, that's towards the ground. And then pop it off like that. Grab the fog light bulb, twist it counterclockwise. Stiff here. Pull the bulb out. To prepare the SolarFlex LED fog lights, first thing you want to do is you want to check this connection here, and you just want to squeeze on it and make sure that this piece is securely inserted into the larger body here. And the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to spread out the heat belt. That will open up more surface area for convection and improve the cooling properties of this bulb. So I'm going to expand the heat belt, and the way that you do that, I'll try to do one here so you can see, is you take these fibers and you start to spread them out with your fingers. You want to open up the surface area as wide as possible. So you can kind of see that this belt now, this particular belt is larger in size than the rest of them. So I'm going to open up all of them and I'll show you what it looks like. So here you can see I fully spread out the heat belt. This is what it should look like when it's completed. And again, what this allows, these loops here allow air currents to pass through them and improves the cooling properties of the bulb. Just a word of caution when you're spreading this out with your fingers, pay attention just to make sure there aren't any broken wire fibers on the belt itself. If there are any broken fibers, it's not going to harm the function of the bulb in any way, but when you're using your fingers, if you're just, you're rubbing by and you snag one of the wire fibers, it'll feel just like a needle going through your fingers. So try to avoid that and just be cautious, that way you don't hurt yourself. Now we can install the bulbs inside the vehicle. So line up 3 tabs, and then once you get those in, rotate the bulb clockwise to lock it in place, just like you're tightening a screw. And now the bulb's in place. Now we just need to connect the cables. Now I've already got the bulb inside the socket. I just wanted to point out something about the connections here. On the H11 connector here on the LED driver, you'll see that these sides are asymmetrical. So you want to make sure that this tab here where my thumb is, the one that's closest to the kind of the plus and the minus on the connector, this is where the locking tab on the factory harness goes. So you don't want the locking tab on this side, you want the locking tab right here. So make sure that you orient the connector properly so that the locking tab lines up with this nub here. So now grab the factory fog light connection, which is this green guy here, and then plug it into the input to the LED driver. So just line it up, and then it should lock in place. You should hear a nice click. And that's the only connection that we need to make. Now what we need to do is just secure the driver module and the extra wiring. That way things are not flopping around. So hopefully you can see what I've done here. I've taken one of the provided zip ties that comes with the kit, threaded it through this opening here. Now this is a 2012 model, yours might be slightly different, but there should be a couple of tabs and holes where you can thread a zip tie through, and then I've wrapped it around the LED driver here and then pulled it nice and tight, so that way the LED driver is not going to flop around or anything like that. And again, here's the original connection. So you can use another zip tie to secure it to the fog light housing or to secure it to the bumper. And then once you get that done, that's it. Now that we've got all the connections made, all we need to do is put the fender lining back into place. So now just fold the fender lining back underneath the bumper lip. And you want to make sure that you get the fender lining in between this end of the plastic clip, and then there's a backside. And then you can use your plastic pry tool if you want, just to kind of help you feed it back in. And just get everything lined up. And now once you get to this point here, just put your fasteners back in. So we'll start with this guy. And again, I'm lining up this in the correct orientation. This particular one is vertical. You may have to push the fender lining in at the same time to get it in. Once you get this particular one in, just tighten it a quarter turn, and that's all that one needs. And for the next fastener, this one should just slide in easily now. You can take your Phillips screwdriver or your Phillips bit here and just work that guy back in. all done. Now we can do the passenger side. So here on the passenger side, you can see that I've already taken out the two clips here, and again, already moved the wheel over to the left to give us a little bit more room. Now the primary difference between the passenger side and the driver's side is here on the passenger side you can see that there's the windshield wiper reservoir. Now that does reduce the amount of room that we have to work with, but it's not too big of a deal because you can reach underneath the windshield wiper reservoir and you can still get plenty of access to the bulb. So same thing as the driver's side. Push the tab on the connector towards the front of the vehicle and then push the whole plug down to take it off. Then turn the bulb counterclockwise. Now to mount the driver, you can either do it the exact same way that we did on the driver's side, where you take a zip tie and you secure it to some of the tabs that are inside the bumper over here. That's usually going to be the best way to do it. Using a mechanical connection, a mechanical clamp like the zip ties is going to be the most reliable and secure way to do it. But I will show you an alternative way to mount these ballasts here, or to mount the drivers here, and the kits are going to come with these 3M double-sided mounting pads. Now these can be effective for mounting the drivers, but you must do it properly. In order for the adhesive to be to form a reliable bond, you're going to need either rubbing alcohol or acetone, something to make sure you get all the oil and dirt and grease off of the mounting surfaces, and then a paper towel. So if you choose that, make sure that you get these items. Now if you want to use the mounting pads instead of a zip tie, here on the passenger side what I'm going to do is I'll show you how to mount the driver right here. So we'll use a double-sided pad. We'll clean both surfaces, so we're going to clean this surface here of the driver, and we're also going to clean the plastic surface of the reservoir tank very, very thoroughly, and then we'll take the pad and we'll stick it on right there and push on it nice and firm. That way the adhesive bonds properly. I've already cleaned both surfaces. Now just peel back one side of the masking layer and then bond the pad to the driver first. And make sure that you push firmly, so rub your thumb over the second masking pad and apply a good pressure. That way you get a good bond between the driver and the pad. And then once you get to this point, peel back the second layer, the second masking layer, and be sure not to contaminate the adhesive surface. So don't stick your fingers on there, try not to get your dirty gloves on there if you're using gloves, don't drop it, and then mount that second surface onto the area that we just cleaned on the windshield wiper reservoir. And again, push firmly on the pad and on the driver and make sure that you get a good bond between the windshield wiper reservoir and the adhesive pad. Now once it's on there, it should be nice and snug and shouldn't go anywhere. So that's it. Again, tuck the fender liner back inside the bumper lip here, put your fasteners back in. Now once you've got both fasteners back in, you can straighten the wheels out, and let's go turn on the lights and see how they look. Here you can see we've got both lights on now. The Xenon HID system that we installed in an earlier video, and also the new LED fog lights that we just put in. We've got a nice 6000K light emitted from both the fog lights and the headlights, and it's a good match between the two. If you'd like to purchase this LED fog light kit, you can go to our website, www.enlightauto.com, or you can just click on the link in the description below. Thanks for watching.